Hi there and welcome to the Dawn Show. Dawn Stenslamenti here. We are live and we are local. If you have a question today, the number is always 866-472-8868. So, ladies, start your engines. Today we are going to give you some great tips that you can use on how to take care of your car and not get ripped off when you're going to an auto body shop to get your car fixed. And also what to do when you break down on the road and how to prevent being there in the first place. So I want to introduce my friend Lori Johnson. She is president of Ladies Start Your Engines, and you're here to give us all the information we need, right, Lori?
Correct.
Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get into the X's and O's of how you do all this stuff and what we need to know, give me your backstory here. You're originally, this is really in your blood.
Yeah, I grew up in Michigan, so car capital. My father and his father worked for General Motors, and on my mom's side, my great-grandfather and my grandfather were both mechanics. So I say it's kind of in the blood.
It's in your veins.
Yes.
Now, I went to college, actually journalism school in Minnesota. Don't you know, 80 below zero. Everybody there has all this stuff
Right.
because you have to. Because
Right.
if you break down, you could die. So,
Yes.
so for me, I do all this stuff and it's in my family. So, and that's why I put an emphasis on it. It's important
Right.
in what you do, and you're an educator on this. So,
Well, especially for women too,
Yeah.
because it used to be when you broke down the side of the road, it wasn't a big deal. But now you don't know who's going to stop to help you, and maybe they're going to hurt you. So if you know something, at least you can maybe get yourself back on the road yourself.
yeah, and I think movies kind of give us this fantasy of the pretty lady, like, you know,
Right.
holding up her skirt, like, oh, help me.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, the reality is they end up on the evening news and
Right.
they're missing.
Right.
So we want to say to you, hey, learn how to do this stuff yourself.
Right. And preventative maintenance. Know what to look for so that that doesn't happen.
So let's get started. First of all, what have you got here for us?
Well, I've just brought a couple of different things, some engine belts that we can talk about. I have a filter here that we've cut apart so that you can see kind of what's involved when you get an oil change. Oil filter is always included.
But the first piece is the dipstick.
The dipstick, yep, the oil.
So walk
Oil,
me through that.
lifeblood of the car. Really important that you change your oil on a regular basis. Look in your owner's manual. I'm always going to tell you, here's an owner's manual right here. Refer to that. In the back it tells maintenance. So how to check the dipstick. You're going to, first thing, the car needs to be off. You're going to pull it out, wipe it off first, and then you're going to put it all the way back in and pull it out and then check. There's usually 2 dots or something on there, and that'll tell you where the low is and where the high is, and you don't want to overfill it, but it needs to be in between those two.
And you have to know what kind of oil,
Right.
which is also in your owner's manual or sometimes
Synthetic
even on the
or
side.
regular oil or whatever. Usually when you get an oil change, they'll put a sticker in your window and it may say right on there what it is. So if you had to add, you want to add the same thing.
And you never want to put too much in there.
Correct. Overfilling oil is almost as bad. So the only way to get it out is to remove that drain plug and take some out and then put the drain plug back in. It's a messy job. So.
Well, and a lot of people can get it done, but in other words, even if you have that sticker, but you have an oil light go on or anything,
Right.
you should immediately change it,
Right.
check it.
If an oil light comes on while you're driving, that's an immediately pull over and shut your car off. That's not a keep driving and hope I make it to a gas station. An oil light is a serious light. So
Okay.
you pull over, you make sure you get oil before you drive any further.
And that's the thing, a lot of times you're used to the warning light going on, and you think, oh, I've got, I can
Right.
get it in a couple days. So
People call them idiot lights and they say, oh, they're just there to
Right.
warn me. But there are certain lights that when they come on, you pay attention, and the oil light is one of them.
because if that oil has a problem or if it's run out, you could blow out your engine.
Right, exactly. Now you're talking thousands of dollars to do repairs instead of adding oil and getting yourself someplace for a proper fix.
So show me the filter and these belts.
So the filter, I just wanted to take this apart and show you that inside this filter is this is paper, okay? So it doesn't take long for this to get saturated, and then basically the oil comes by here and it goes in here and gets filtered. Once this gets blocked and full, the oil no longer goes in here. So now you've got dirty oil that's just passing through your engine. So
Right.
not a good thing. So that always comes with the oil. You don't have to ask for that. Oil and filter always comes together.
Comes together.
Right.
And what about the belts?
Well, the belts, there's 2 different types of belts. This is what they call a serpentine belt. You can see how it's really big. And this goes on every single thing of your car. So if this breaks, there's a lot of things that can stop working. If you have single belts like this, then it could just be your air conditioner belt that breaks, or just your, just one thing.
Okay.
So
well, how do you know?
Well, you can look in there and see if there's multiple belts or if you just see this one.
Okay.
And the big thing that we're looking for is that it gets cracked. And when this gets cracked, it's time to replace it. And you
Okay.
can see that by looking at your belt
Hold
before
that
it
up again.
breaks.
I don't know if you can see that at home, but I don't know if you can see the interior of it. So if that starts cracking,
Yeah, it starts cracking.
that's a big
right.
big deal.
It's time to change it because, like I say, when this breaks, you lose alternator, power steering, maybe air conditioning doesn't seem like such a big deal. Your water pump, which means that it could overheat. So keeping an eye on this is a big deal.
And I always say, I have two little boys. Everybody knows 7 and 9, Michael and David. So this is something that they love to look at. So in other words, look up, pick up the hood,
Sure.
pop the hood, and look inside. So even for moms and kids,
Sure.
and teach your kids about it. It's
And
so important.
checking fluids are easy. There's the bottles you can usually see on the side of them, so you can look and make sure that those fluids are full. And those are easy things that even kids like to do.
So women especially, they sign up to your Ladies Start Your Engines classes. And were you surprised at first at how many people signed up for the classes and didn't know what you know?
Well, I used to do them for both men and women, and I found that the men kind of gravitated to the front and asked questions, and then the women stood in the back because they felt embarrassed or they didn't want to, feel like a fool in front of the guys.
Okay.
But then when I did it for them, they all came out and asked questions, so it was great.
And so they learn how to change a tire, how to check those fluids, the
Right.
basic understanding of how your engine works, battery maintenance, how to check belts, fuses, replacing those, even the wiper blades.
Right.
So we have your website up, by the way, if anybody wants to see it. But we want to get into something that I've had in my car for years that everybody should have. And it's a lifesaver for the vehicle and sometimes for people who break down. So we're going to continue our conversation, Lori, when the Dawn Show continues. Be right back.